One phrase I learned in recovery was that I was being helpful to be controlling. I saw that I helped people out so they would do things my way because I thought my way was better. Ouch. Ugh. I still sometimes think thoughts like my way is better, but I don't have to believe them now and I don't act on those thoughts the way I used to. I don't foist my help on people the way that I used to. Hi, I'm Barb Nangle. I want to welcome you to my podcast, Fragmented to Whole, Life Lessons from 12-Step Recovery. If you're tired of feeling fragmented and overwhelmed, this podcast is your guide to creating a life of wholeness, authenticity, and healthy boundaries. I'm a woman in recovery who is also a boundaries coach and speaker. I share raw and honest insights from my own journey and the principles of 12-Step Recovery. Discover how to set boundaries without guilt or shame, overcome people-pleasing tendencies, manage your emotions effectively, cultivate a stronger sense of self, and build healthier relationships. My approach is raw, honest, and sometimes a lot sweary. I'm an avid beachcomber and a formerly closeted fan of the Hallmark Channel, especially Christmas movies. I wear fingerless gloves almost all year round because my hands are always cold. And I love taking pictures of license plates with my initials BN on them. I don't speak for or endorse any particular 12-step program of recovery. Though I'm a huge fan of 12-step recovery and a member of two such fellowships, I cannot speak for them. If you're ready for real talk and practical tools for transformation, keep listening. This is episode 312, The Humbling Truth Behind My Need to Rescue and How I Got Out of It. For much of my life, I've known that one of my absolutely most hated human characteristics is arrogance. That meant I was absolutely shocked to learn in recovery that I was arrogant as fuck. And it also helped me understand that I hated it because it was something in me that I didn't like. And you know what we say in recovery, you spot it, you got it. And often if you're spotting something regularly in other people, it's because you have it and probably don't like it. Now, what I've learned over time is that arrogance is very much tied to my role as a rescuer, fixer, and saver. I recently read a blog post by Donna Zajonc and her husband, David Emerald, who are heroes of mine. David wrote the book, The Empowerment Dynamic, which is the antidote to the drama triangle. I've put a link to their website in the show notes in case you want to check them out. And if you haven't already listened to my episode about the drama triangle, I put a link to that in the show notes. You can listen to it. And in that episode, I talk more in detail about their work and about the drama triangle and the roles of the rescuer, the persecutor, and the victim, and then the roles that David has suggested in the empowerment dynamic. Okay, so there was recently a blog that Donna wrote along with David that was incredibly inspiring and really helped kind of flesh out some of these concepts for me. So I want to give lots of credit to Donna and David. They inspired me with this blog post and also saved me from doing some research about arrogance. So as I said, I came to realize that my rescuing, fixing, and saving and enabling were a form of arrogance. I thought I was just trying to be helpful. But when I looked at that thinking, once I got in recovery, I realized that it meant I somehow felt that people needed my help. Like I knew better than they did what they needed. One phrase I learned in recovery was that I was being helpful to be controlling. I saw that I helped people out so they would do things my way because I thought my way was better. Ouch. Ugh. I still sometimes think thoughts like my way is better, but I don't have to believe them now and I don't act on those thoughts the way I used to. I don't foist my help on people the way that I used to. Now I either get people's consent to help them, or I wait for them to ask me, and then I decide if I actually choose to help rather than feeling like I have to help them. I'm compelled or obligated. This helps explain how arrogance can feed the need to help others. It's not that I didn't really want to be helpful. Of course I did. But I can see now that my helpfulness often stemmed from being judgmental of others and thinking I can do this better. I started to see the connection between wanting to help others because I assumed others couldn't take care of themselves, at least not as good as I could. Though I'm sure much of that thinking was subconscious. Now, the kind of arrogance I was familiar with is the sort of nose in the air kind of arrogance when the person sees themselves as better than other people. So, since that was really the only form of arrogance I understood, I was very resistant to using that word to describe myself at first. Like intellectually, I understood I am no better or worse than anyone else. I don't believe that I'm better than other people. But clearly, on an emotional level, I had the feeling that I knew better than others. And I learned that there's another common form of arrogance known as helper arrogance. This is a more socially acceptable type, but it's still about superiority. It includes things like constantly giving unsolicited advice, which, by the way, I was famous for. And this is my kind of arrogance. I wanted to be helpful for sure, but I was still patronizing and dismissive of others and their abilities, though I didn't realize it until recovery. When I saw this pattern, it was incredibly humbling for me. Now, here are some other forms of arrogance that all share a common theme of an inflated sense of self, as noted by Donna in her blog. So there's intellectual arrogance. This is assuming that you're the smartest person in the room, dismissing others' ideas or expertise. There's moral arrogance, believing your values or lifestyle are superior to others, which leads to judgmental attitudes and criticism of those who don't align. There is spiritual arrogance, feeling like you're more enlightened or involved and look down on others who have different beliefs or practices. There's social arrogance, which is where you have an attitude of superiority because of your social circle, your wealth, your fame, your connections. And there's creative arrogance, viewing your creative and artistic work as superior, dismissing others' ideas and tastes as unoriginal or shallow. Now, we typically adopt these ways because we have some kind of underlying psychological needs or defenses or insecurities. So that could be insecurity. And I can see now that on some level, my need to help made me feel worthy and secure. I thought my value comes from my helpfulness, not just from being. It can come from a threat to self-identity. Some people bind their self-worth to a single trait of intelligence, morality, creativity, success, helpfulness. And when their identity is threatened, they respond with arrogance or protect it. What also I see in a lot of my clients is they don't even have a sense of self-identity. They don't know who they are because they've always said yes to other people, and who they are is the helper. Another pattern is the need for control. I know I gradually realized that my helper arrogance stemmed from feeling threatened by uncertainty and unpredictability. That's why I was often helpful to be controlling. For me, that part of my arrogance and my helpfulness is insidious because it's very difficult for me to spot. I often need others to point out to me when I'm being helpful to be controlling. And thankfully, I have fellows in recovery who are close enough to me that are also willing to let me know when this is going on. And then it can also bolster your self-worth. If you associate wealth and status to your personal power, then that arrogance can really bolster your self-worth. Now, letting go of arrogance can be very humbling and intimidating to the ego, but there are ways to begin doing that don't have to be so threatening. So it starts with noticing when you are being overly helpful, pleasing, or rescuing. And it may be because you want to get answers and manage uncertainty. Try replacing certainty with curiosity. Ask people about their situation. Give them the possibility of answering questions. And this has really helped me pause my advice giving. Like one of the questions you can ask is, do you actually want help here? When I started to say things like, I don't know, when people came to me because I'd always given them answers, it was an enormous relief. So you can start saying, I don't know. To this day, I get kind of giddy that I don't have to help in every situation. I get kind of giddy when I say, I don't know. I realize I don't have to have all the answers. I don't have to help everyone out. So if you're trying to get over your arrogance and your rescuing ways, try coming at things with curiosity. Don't offer solutions or answers. Instead, ask the person things like, what do you think you should do? Or you might not even ask a question. You might just say to them, I'm sure you'll figure something out. If they keep pressing you for answers because you've always helped them in the past, you can say, I really don't know. I'm sure you will figure out what's best. And then you give them the opportunity to provide answers in their own lives. And you get to start living your own life rather than everyone else's. My ideal clients are professional women who say yes when they really want to say no, and who neglect themselves because they're so focused on others. What I've found is that most professional women feel overwhelmed. You keep giving in to others and take on too much. You're afraid of disappointing others or being seen as selfish, so you don't say no. When you even think of setting boundaries, you get flooded with guilt and shame. The reality is that things will never improve until you stop putting everyone else first. To get the life and relationships you want, you have to stop ignoring yourself and start focusing internally. If this sounds like you, please sign up for a free 30-minute Better Boundaries call with me at barbchat.net. If you like this podcast, and I'm guessing you did because you're still listening, you will also love my weekly newsletter, Friday Fragments, which has short essays similar to the podcast. You can check it out at fridayfragments.news. That's fridayfragments.news. If you haven't already subscribed to my podcast on your favorite podcast outlet, please do that. It helps carry the message to more people. I started this podcast because there was so much wisdom in recovery that just wasn't making its way out into the world. So I want as many people as possible to hear it. I'd also love it if you'd leave a 5-star rating or a review, which you can do on Apple Podcasts. It helps other people find it so they can get the benefits that you've gotten from listening. If someone in particular came to mind when you listen to this episode, please share it with them. And my favorite place to hang out on social media is Instagram. I'm at Higher Power Coaching. Please DM me there. I'd love to hear what you got from this episode. I run private and group coaching programs on building healthy boundaries. Whether you need help with boundaries in your personal, professional, or romantic life, I can help. Head on over to barbchat.net where you can get on my calendar for a free 30-minute Better Boundaries consultation. I also do short-term situational coaching to help people make it through specific situations they're going through, such as divorce, empty nesting, preparing for retirement, or any phase where their identity is shifting. Regardless of the type of coaching, my ideal client is someone who is ripe for change. If that's you, I'd love to work with you. My goal with all my work is to help you make lasting changes in your life, like I've made deep, lasting changes in my life. Remember, it's never too late to recover. No one is beyond hope, and healing is possible. Thanks for listening.